Welcome to iCave Answers. I'm iCave Dave, and we are answering your Apple questions that you've left in the comments of our videos using the hashtag iCaveAnswers.
Your Apple questions answered. It's iCave Answers with iCave Dave.
And let's smash straight into these with John Rowland. iCave Answers, do you know of any way to emulate PowerPC chips on an M1 or Intel Macs, or is it better to just buy a G4 Mac? This is an interesting one because I really like playing with the vintage Macs. As you can see on my desk, I have a PowerMac G4 Cube sitting right there. It all works. My loft is full of old PowerPC Macs. So, if you want to emulate this stuff, it is not easy. PowerPC was its own very strange architecture, which Rosetta kind of emulated forwards into Intel, and now we're emulating Intel forwards into M1s. But it is very difficult to back emulate. For some reason, I don't know why, there's not a huge amount of power there, it's not a huge amount of brute forcing that would be needed. But I have not found a good way of doing it, other than, I believe there are some browser-based emulations that you can do, but to be completely honest, and this is a more satisfying way of doing it, pick yourself up a G4. They go for very little money on eBay, especially if you're going for a G4 PowerMac Tower or something along those lines. You can get up to sort of 1.5 gigahertz processors in there, I think. So you can actually get some decent performance out of them. They still run surprisingly well. I picked up a G3 tower from a car boot sale, which is like a flea market here in the UK. It was £10. I took it home, I plugged in a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse, and it worked like straight away, running 10.3. And it's really fun, and it's super fluid, and like it has no right to be that good. And these things look good. They make cool little talking pieces if you have an office or you have somewhere that you can display it in your house. They are really fun, but I'm really interested to know what kind of software you're actually wishing that you could still run that's kind of PowerPC only. Let me know in the comments of this video. I would love to know. Luke O'Connor asks, hi Dave, what do you think is the future of Apple Pay? With Apple's reputation for security and privacy, could you see them becoming a major player in consumer finance and even crypto/DeFi space? So I actually had to look up what DeFi is. So it's decentralized finance. I am not a huge proponent of crypto. I don't understand it in a deep enough way to really give you a great deal. But what I would say is that Apple is such a big player in the world. You know, they are the world's most valuable company, basically the world's biggest company in terms of public ownership. At that point, it's very unlikely that they are going to do something massively disruptive in the finance sector, because if Apple decided to go into crypto and into Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dogecoin or whatever, like, I mean, Elon has, but I can't see Apple doing it, because if Apple was to do it as such a massive player, then that would be the instant that it became very heavily regulated by governments. And that's kind of the whole point of crypto, is that people don't want it to be regulated by governments. And I know that the way that crypto is built makes it very hard to be regulated, or very hard for anyone else to get involved with it. But that's kind of the problem. And when you're a big company with kind of corporate law that covers a lot of what you're doing, beyond like buying some crypto like Elon did, if you decide that you want to be the payment processor for it and all of that kind of thing, it's very, very dicey territory for a big company like this to get into. In terms of Apple Pay and Apple Card, I think that's just going to grow and grow, and I think our entire identity is moving onto our phone, onto whatever our device is. The only thing that Apple might do in terms of crypto is actually building kind of a crypto wallet into the iPhone, so you actually have your hardware kind of, there is a hardware wallet thing, I think. I don't know much about this, I might have mentioned, but I think Apple might kind of put that hardware into the iPhone so that you can store your Bitcoin on there and maybe use iCloud as part of the backup for it, because there's been enough stories of people that have had a USB key that was their Bitcoin wallet, and then they've lost it, and then they've spent many years searching through landfills trying to find it, because it's got like $200 million on it in terms of Bitcoins, because they mined them the first week that Bitcoin was a thing, and they got like 26. Like, it's crazy stuff, and I think that has got to be moved into a way that people can't lose. So That's the only way that I can see them moving into the crypto space. But Apple Pay in general, I can see them accepting or being able to pay with Bitcoin, but I can't see them being a major player in it beyond that. Apple Pay is just becoming more ubiquitous day by day, and since the pandemic, everyone's wanted to pay by contactless instead of cash or card. So yeah, it's just going to keep going like that. Ert asks, do you think that Apple will delete Facebook off the App Store? I know many people use WhatsApp, and what do you think the future of chat and Facebook will be? I see no reason that Apple would remove Facebook from the App Store unless they actually break the rules of the App Store, which right now they don't. They are just complaining about it. They're not breaking the rules, they're complaining about the rules. So I don't see it being removed. I know a lot of people use WhatsApp, more people use Facebook than use WhatsApp. And remember that Instagram as well is part of that group. I can't see all three of those being removed, but were they to be removed, Facebook works through the browser, Instagram could easily work through the browser, and I'm sure WhatsApp would find a way to work through the browser if they needed to. So I don't see them going away regardless of what happens to Facebook. I don't see things getting much worse between Apple and Facebook because it looks like they're getting to the point where it's just going to happen now and Facebook's going to have to deal with it. The only reason that I would see Facebook being removed from the App Store is if they start to ignore people's requests to not be tracked outside the app. Because clicking that button does not make it not happen. It tells the app that they don't want it, and the app should then respect that. Also from Ert, iCave Answers, the videos are getting more than 1k views now. Good job. Will you start making gaming videos, please? Now, right at the beginning of this channel, we did make some gaming videos because the channel was called Living on iPad. So I did some iPad gaming stuff. I did some Call of Duty Mobile and that kind of thing, and started reviewing some games, but I'm not a gamer. I play the odd bit of Call of Duty when I've got a bit of downtime, but I am not a gamer. I am not young or cool enough or entertaining enough when I play for that to be a thing. If there are more people that want to see gaming stuff, maybe we'll do another channel with some gaming videos, but I don't see it being a thing. What I will commit to is if we start getting more games brought over to Apple Silicon, we will definitely talk about those games as and when they get ported directly to Apple Silicon, how they perform on the hardware, that kind of thing. That I will commit to. And Robert Berry asks, you mentioned using an external SSD to boot your late 2013 iMac from, but what read-write speeds of external SSD do you use? As I suspect the USB 3 interface on the iMac might be a limitation. Also, have you managed to fudge getting Big Sur onto that iMac? Thanks in advance. So, we did put Big Sur on the iMac. It's not supposed to get it. It was the first beta. It was buggy as hell. Like, when you clicked into the address bar in Safari, it crashed Safari. Like, that kind of level of buggy. So, I managed to use that for a few weeks and still made all my YouTube videos on it, which was a ridiculously poor decision. But what I had done at the time is I had made sure that because I work off an external SSD, I had cloned my external SSD before installing Big Sur. So all I had to do when it kind of stopped working at all, or became really bad, was plug in the old SSD and boot it. So that was quite handy. In terms of read-write speeds, yeah, it's limited by the USB 3 port, but certainly faster than the internal spinning hard drive. So it was absolutely fine for me. It wasn't a particularly big or expensive SSD. I think it was $30 or £30. And it certainly gave the Mac a new lease of life. So I do recommend the results that I got. I don't recommend the kind of downsides to it that do exist. So you do have to bear in mind that things are not always going to work exactly as you expect when you start messing with stuff like putting your boot drive in the wrong place. But definitely worth a try, and as long as you leave your internal drive in place and don't remove your operating system from it, you can't really mess too much up by trying to run it from an external drive. So that's the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want a question answered in a future show, all you need to do, comment down below with hashtag iCaveAnswers, and I will answer your questions too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.